Do you know if you earn 150k and above, you can own your house? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Investment Talk with Chuka. This is Chuka Nwachukwu, your investment advisor. Yes, this is true. For mortgage, you can own your own house with just 150k a month salary. And this is how. Welcome, Mr. Remy.
Thank you.
I chose to bring back this expert because of some of the investment conversation we had. People who are looking to invest in mortgage. So I would like to know, what are the different forms of mortgages we have?
Okay, we have normal commercial mortgages, which you get from mortgage institutions who are borrowing you their own funds, their own depositors' funds. And these come at prevailing market rates of 20, 29%, 30% upwards. But what we focus on is those mortgages that are somehow associated with some form of social intervention. We're talking the National Housing Fund loan. We're talking the Help to Own mortgage loan from Family Owns Fund Limited. We're talking the MBRIF. Those are the areas that we focus on because it is difficult for people to pay mortgages at double digits, high double digits. And that's where we come in.
Thank you. I mean, Nigeria of today, we know how inflation is. We know that price of everything is going up. Now, as someone who earns 150k a month, can you practically tell me how it's possible for me to be able to own a house considering the high cost of things in Nigeria?
Okay, it's funny. Like they will say in popular parlance, life no hard. Now you define big thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if you earn we've given mortgages to people that earn less than 150k. It's fact. Do you know that with somebody who earns 150,000, you can actually buy a house in some areas in Nigeria? We funded over 20 apartments in Nasarawa, for Nigerians, low-income earners. We're talking people who earn 120, 150, you understand, 110. We gave them mortgages, and their monthly repayments are as low as 30-something thousand, 40,000 monthly, which is less than 40% of their salary. Some of them might not live there, but they bought those houses for investment purposes. And the value of those houses today, some of them bought those houses at 3.5 million, some bought at 5 million. At the time, they took mortgages of around 4 million, 3.5, some 5 million, depending on the type of property they were buying. And today, those properties are selling for way more than they bought them. Some are actually living in those houses, some are not. So yes, people with 150k can actually get more. If you earn 150,000 and you're say 35 years of age, you can get an NHF loan of 6 million. And there are areas in Nigeria where you can get houses that are selling for 7 million. So you look for 1 million and then you take a mortgage of 6 million. So yeah, it's possible. In fact, if you come to us for a mortgage and then we check your monthly repayment for the amounts that we're applying for you, and it's more than your salary or equal to salary or even half of your salary, we're not going to process that application. So we do all of that checks for you. Because I know for 6 million for 25 years NHF loan, that is running at 6%, you get to pay less than 50,000 naira per month. And there are houses, you understand, that you can buy, maybe in your community, as long as just be sure that the property has a good title. As long as he has a good title and the person there is willing to go through the NHF route, why not? You can open up a discussion with the person and then apply for a mortgage that your income can carry. So the NHF is the cheapest, 6%. Then the help to own, rather, with what we're doing with the help to own, the rates will most likely come down to 9-point-something%. And I think with 9-point-something% for somebody that is fairly young, that is maybe in his 20s, for 20 years, if you're taking about 5 million there, about the repayment is still going to be less than 40% of your salary, and we can process a mortgage for you.
Fantastic. Without advertising any company, like what we do here, Investment Talk with Chuka, is just to open our viewers' eyes to opportunities that are there, and in order to help our viewers, it would be nice, to let us into at least top 3 or top 5 mortgage institutions that people can go to and apply for.
Okay, so actually there are about over 20 mortgage banks right in Nigeria. At least 18 of those mortgage banks are accredited with Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. What this means is that they can actually process NHF loans for people, being the cheapest mortgage Nigerians can access at the moment. You can check those names online. They are public knowledge. Just accredited mortgage banks with FMBN, and then you see the list. You can pick from. We do not want it to seem like some mortgage banks are way over the others. We cannot. I really cannot begin to mention it. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's good because Investment Talk with Chuka cannot advertise for any firm freely, which is is not what we are here for. All right, so in states, there are differences, right? What are the factors that affect mortgages in some of these states? I know you mentioned about some states, some have issues with title document and all that. Yeah, so let's know what are the challenges.
Okay, so Lagos is the investment capital of this country. So everything in Lagos is almost done the right way in terms of real estate. People are more aware in Lagos, Abuja, maybe Port Harcourt, so to say, but not too much in Port Harcourt. Lagos and Abuja, people are more aware in Lagos and maybe in Abuja that when you buy a house, there are these documents you need to put in place just so you can actually transfer to those other persons who want to buy from you with ease. Now, in some other parts of the country, particularly I would say the south, we're talking Bayelsa, Delta, maybe Benin, and also the southeast. Many of those people around there do not understand the importance of having a title over a property, a perfected title. Either a governor's consent or a CFO. And what that means is, as long as that property does not have these registered titles, it cannot fly for any mortgage. It can't work for any mortgage. So if you find yourself in an environment like that, or you identify a property you like, and that property happens to be sitting on a portion of land that is not covered by any CFO or any governor's consent, you just can't buy that property through a mortgage, except you have cash to buy outright. And of course, it's also risky because you buy and any day you could lose the property because there's no cover, on that property. So those are the challenges, that, and I think I need to look at your camera when I say this. The developers, if you want to sell your properties faster, you need to get perfected titles for your properties. Either get a CFO or at least get a governor's consent so that you can actually expand, the scope of customers that you'll be looking to sell to. You'll be talking about customers who want to buy through mortgage. They need to have those documents because their financiers will request for those documents. Except you are looking to sell to only cash buyers, which is most unlikely. Nobody keeps 90 million or 50 million in an account sitting idle for the day that he will see a house to buy. You probably will take a mortgage. So you also want to be ready so you don't lose those customers when they come. As part of the due diligence functions of the mortgage bank, when you're going to a real estate or a property transaction with them, they would help verify if that property has a title. Okay. So they will ask for a copy of the title, and then they will go all the way to the land registry to confirm the authenticity of that title or whatever documents surrounding that title that's been provided. We do all of that. And there are developers, in the business who already understand this. So as you come for their property to say, I like this property, I'd like to buy, can I have these documents for due diligence? Some developers will gladly oblige you. There's a case that I have currently on my desk. I have a client who wants to buy a house. He's even paid a lot of equity to this developer. But then this man wants to source the balance of the money through a mortgage. And then he comes to us to say he wants a mortgage. And then we ask him for the title documents. He gives us the title document, right? So I'll use our names now. The title documents is in favor of Mr. Chuka Nwachukwu. Yeah. But then the offer letter for sale of the property that he was issued was given by one Mr. Val. You understand? So we're asking, this property belongs to Mr. Chuka. How is Mr. Val selling it to you? Exactly. We need to see a nexus. There must be a relationship between these two people. Can we get any document that will show where Mr. Chuka has given Mr. Val the authority to act on his behalf? Yeah. And then Mr. Chuka, in this case, says yes, there is a joint venture agreement, but it is confidential and he cannot release it. So how do you want me, the mortgage bank, to go into a transaction that I'm not clear about? Yeah. If you're already having secrets from day one, I won't go into that transaction. How do I know that this man is selling with your consent? Exactly. You have told me by word of mouth. I need a copy of this document because I'm also getting this fund from somewhere. I need to prove to them that this is not a scam. And then that document never came.
The profession is very key.
Exactly. So you must be able to tie. Due diligence. Yes, due diligence. If you're buying a property, ask for the title document. Look at the title document. In whose name is that title? When they give you an offer letter, be sure that offer letter is coming from the title holder. So I own the land and I'm offering my property for sale. But where the offer letter is coming from a third party other than the title holder, there must be a connect. And there are so many documents they can use to do this connection. There can be a letter of authorization from the title holder appointing the person selling now, or the vendor in this case, appointing that vendor as his agent, or somebody who can act on his behalf. There could be a joint venture agreement that says, oh, I own the land, but you are the developer. I'm giving you my land to develop, build, and sell. But when it comes to assignment, the title holder has to be the one to assign. The only document that can make a third party assign on behalf of the title holder is a registered power of attorney. because in that case we're not talking of transfer of title.
Yes, sir.
If someone else is going to assign on your behalf, you must have maybe done an irrevocable power of attorney, appointing that person as your representative who can assign on your behalf. And then you take that power of attorney to the lands registry where all of this property history was domiciled, for the governor to say, yes, this property belongs to Mr. Chuka. But here is the power of attorney issued by Mr. Chuka, appointing this man to act on Mr. Chuka's behalf to assign. And then it becomes a legitimate document. Then Mr. Val can now assign on your behalf and it will be valid. So all of these things need to be tied.
Wow, Mr. Remy, I mean, we can go on and go on and go on, because there's so much there is out there for people to know. I want to thank you once again for coming. I think that we've been able to, at least to the best of our knowledge, exhausted everything that is to this conversation, right? So thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You've heard it from the expert. I chose to bring him back once again, but I think we can never exhaust this topic. It's too large. But again, this is why you have Investment Talk with Chuka. If you need further conversation on this, I can link you up to the expert, and then you can take the conversation further from there. But for now, thank you for watching Investment Talk with Chuka. See you next time. Bye bye for now.